When you first start your Tivo 4K, you may end up on this screen, which is the main Tivo screen, or the main Android TV screen, or you may actually end up on Tivo's particular streaming service. But since we're on this screen, I'm going to start here and then signify later what other screen may or may not show up for you. And we're going to start at the top. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, there is a audible search. So pressing the corresponding search command on your remote will allow you to do an audio search. Star Wars.
Tivo results are unavailable at the moment. You can try browsing the Tivo home screen or check out these options from other providers.
When you compare it to something like the NVIDIA Shield, but this is not as powerful as the NVIDIA Shield, but you do have access to that voice command option. I'm going to select the back button on the remote to bring us back to our main screen. Now, the first row that you see in the film strip style layout is your application. These are the channels that you've selected to be visible when you access your Tivo. So in this case, first and foremost is Tivo streaming. You cannot move this one. It stays up front always. But you can see I've added Netflix, I've added Disney, Twitch, Pluto. Just like I had mentioned with the NVIDIA Shield, the black icons, you can't really tell when they're highlighted. Notice Twitch, it gets bigger. Pluto gets a little bigger in the text, but because Pluto, Hulu, and Peacock are all black icons, you don't get that extra jump forward. If you want to move one of your channels, just long press and hold on the select button, and from here you can select OK, move, or you can remove it from your favorites. I'm going to select the back button because I don't want to do any of that. We're going to scroll all the way to the end here, and you see a plus sign. Selecting the plus sign will allow you to add other apps. Now, here you can see these are pre-selected apps that I can add. There's another place where I can actually go through and search for apps, which is all the way over here to the left. And selecting one more time to the left, the apps grid here will allow me to select this and choose get more apps or get more games. Here you can see again some of the pre-selected ones that I have, but I can also select get more apps, and then it'll start displaying apps that you can get. You can also do a search by coming up to the top. So here we have I was on apps. You can select games and you can show my apps. You can also do a search, which will bring up the search menu. Notice I can't do anything yet. I have to select OK one more time on the remote to bring up the keyboard. And again, this is going to be hunting and pecking. From here, you could also use your voice command, Star Wars.
Tivo results are unavailable at the moment. You can
Fubo TV.
Here's Fubo TV,
which finds the particular channel that I was looking for, and it will allow me to install it. In my case, I'm going to select back on the remote. That brings us back to our main page. Coming over to the right and down, play next. These are based on things that you were watching at one time. So here, it's pulling in things from Twitch. Here is Pluto, and here's another Twitch, because, you know, when you just need something on in the background, Twitch is a good thing to do that for. Coming all the way over to the left again is Tivo Stream, and they're recommended. Now, this is supposed to be based on information that I gave it, and I apparently have not fed it enough information because a lot of this is not really pertinent to what I would consider something that I'm looking for. But again, if we come all the way over to the left one more time, we can highlight the recommend and make it big. Notice that recommend, play next, and apps cannot be moved. However, when we come down to Google's music service, I get an extra arrow to the left, meaning if I come over one more time, I can select to move this up or down just by clicking OK. So here I can move this up or down, select OK to lock it back into place, or I can come all the way over to the left and there's a minus sign, which means I will delete this. So if I have something in here that I don't want to see, like music, maybe I don't want music because, well, again, I don't listen to music through Google, so these recommendations have nothing to do for me. I can remove this entirely. Here you have App Spotlight. NBA, Peacock, Crunchyroll, ESPN. Now notice, again, if I come over, Spotlight, but I can delete it and I can move it. Coming down, featured from HBO Max. So again, we can just scroll through, film strip style. Showtime, it's going to be the same thing. Stars, recommended CBS. Tubi, recommended YouTube. Now this will default to the last person who logged into YouTube. Nobody has logged into YouTube on this, so these are just random recommendations. Free movies from YouTube. Again, stay at home with YouTube. If you're getting an idea, the Android TV box does pull a lot from YouTube and Google-owned properties. News about a virus that can't be named. Recommended for you on Disney. So this is the family one, so it's throwing in some recommendations. Netflix. Great show. You should watch it. Prime, Hulu, and then Twitch, even though we actively have Twitch. A lot of these, mainly starting from here, preloaded, 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 preloaded. And obviously an ad. Because most of these services I don't use or interact with. However, they were there by default. Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime Video, I interact with these. Hulu, I do. Twitch as well. The other ones, not so much, so got to pay the bill somehow. You can customize a channel by selecting here, which will allow you to show and not show particular channels just by toggling them on and off here. We're not going to do that. Instead, what we're going to do is we are going to hit the circle button on our remote, which will bring us all the way back up to the top, thankfully not forcing us to scroll all the way up. Now, the other thing with the Tivo 4K is, well, you are buying into the Tivo ecosystem. What do I mean by that? Well, one of the places that you start off with, if you don't start off on this page, is this page here, Tivo Stream. So here you go. On the left-hand side here, we are on home of this particular service. So think of it almost like a mini service within Tivo. So home, you have trending right now available. This one's only on Netflix, but notice here, available from Prime Video, CBS, and Google. So their trending is pulling in from all sorts of services. So it's not just one service. Now, recently watched, I have a problem with because none of these I actually watched. I went up to the trending just to take a look. And hypothetically, if we do Sugar Rush, I click on this. It doesn't mean I want to start it yet. But from here, you can see the episodes. You can add to your shows because there is like a favorites that you can have. And then there's a rate. Yes, it's good. No, it's not. And this is on Netflix. So I can select Watch Now, and it will bring me over to Netflix and start this. Based on selecting this, its Tivo algorithm thinks I will also like these, which is a possibility. So if I select Netflix just to see, not starting it yet, we're going to go back, and I'm going to select Home on my remote, which brings me back to this page. However, if I select the Tivo button, it brings me back to where I was. Now, if we go back here, it's going to make a liar out of me. So there was an update that changed that because I went to Jumanji just to see, and it added it to my watched. I didn't watch any of these shows, but they still ended up in my recently watched. So there are some discrepancies, but it seems like they've done some fixing, which is good. Live TV, if you have services for live TV, in my case I use Pluto, they will end up here. So again, it's going to aggregate kind of recommendations that it thinks you will enjoy. That's all on home. Now, coming over and selecting my shows, when you first start your Tivo experience, it will ask you to select some shows that you're interested in, and it puts them here. Think of this as your favorites area. But this also helps to teach the algorithm what you actually like to watch. Coming down, Guide. You can select Guide from this side menu or by selecting Guide on your remote. both of them will bring you into this, which is a almost classic TV style grid. Now, when you are using Tivo, they have deep integration with Sling TV. So notice over here on the left, it says Tivo. These are all free channels that you can get for Tivo. So there's no subscription, you don't have to pay anything. And if I click on this one right here, it's actually going to bring me into live TV. So that's Tivo Plus. And it starts live TV. I don't want to play too much of that. But if we come all the way down here, notice that's bringing me into Sling TV because you can see the icon on the left. Now, if I had a Sling account that was active, this would actually populate. But you can see the little green arrow is a Sling feature of, even if I come in and start this now, I could start it from the beginning. So like I said, lots of deep integration with Sling. However, the guide itself, I really like. It's very snappy. It lets you go forward in time quite a bit. And if you already use Sling, this is almost a no-brainer for you. So since I went so far ahead in the guide, I'm going to use the back button on the remote to bring me back to the left-hand guide. We're going to come down to TV shows. And again, this is just Tivo aggregating things based on what you're rating and the favorite shows you have to try and come up with something that it thinks you'll enjoy. Likewise, we can do this with movies. It's going to start aggregating, trying to figure out what you might be interested in. It's giving you even genres here that you can select from. Selecting back, sports, same thing. So it's going to pull in those things, always showing you where it's coming from, which I kind of like the fact that while it's aggregating all of this stuff into a single location, it's showing you where it can be found so you can make the decision, well, this one's on Prime Video and Google. Well, I'm going to check out Prime Video because maybe it's free. And last but not least on the side here, kids. So shows for preschoolers, elementary, movies for kids, shows for tween. I mean, it's very robust. So we do have a dedicated search feature similar to the Roku search feature, which searches across all of your services. Well, Tivo has one too. So I'm going to use the remote here and search for Star Wars. Here you can see Tivo's results for Star Wars. So here's results by Google, YouTube results, and then there was Hulu down there. So that first row is going to be Tivo looking across all of your services where you can actually get Star Wars. And down here we have settings. So again, the settings, these are just for your Tivo experience. So accessibility, you can select closed caption on and off and text to speech. My streaming services, you can select all of the streaming services that you want to use it for. By default, when you add a service that is compatible with Tivo, it will automatically be added to this list. Parental controls, you can have parental controls on and off, and you can have the parental controls for Sling turned on and off. So you've got options. You have help, account info, system info, legal, and then sign out. So this is signing out of your Tivo experience, not signing out of your overall Android TV box service, which is what we're dealing with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select home on my remote, which brings me back to this page. Again, if I select the Tivo icon on my remote, it will bring me back to this and the last area that I was in. So I'm just going to bring this back to home for Tivo, and I'm going to select home because now we're back to the Android TV side of things. That was the entire Android TV side with the Tivo Flare, but now we're going to go up. And here we can activate our voice command using the remote. We can use the keyboard, which is hunt and peck, and it's not very good, but that's what it is. Over here on the right, these are our settings. Now, by default, since there's only one account for this, you will have your account name listed here. I am blocking it out. Your first option is networks, which will allow you to search for your network and log on to it because this is a Wi-Fi only device. Next, you have account, which again will allow you to log out of your Google account that is attached to your Android TV experience. After that, apps. These are the apps that you have currently on your TV, on your Tivo. But you also have the ability to see all of your apps, check your app's permissions, and check special access needed for specific apps. There are some that you might add, like a VPN, that have special access requirements. Selecting back on our page here, we come down to device preference. From here, we have About, which is obviously about our Tivo. It'll give us lots of information. Here we can see the last security patch for Android, etc. Date and time, automatic. It's probably the easiest, but you can also set up a 24-hour system if you wanted to. Language, select the language that works best for you. By default, at least when I got it, it was English. Keyboard, you can use the Gboard. You can do Gboard settings. So Gboard, again, because this is a Google property, if you use Gboard on your smartphone, that data will also be brought into your viewing experience, which is why you saw when I was looking for Star Wars, it was bringing up Starbucks, because Starbucks is the last thing I searched for on my G keyboard many moons ago. And then you can manage your keyboards. Sound. Well, we've got system sound, which is that do-do-do-do you're hearing as I'm moving around. You have surround sound formats. Now, you've got lots of choices here. Sadly, the TV I'm using does not support surround sound, so I will not be selecting any. Storage, this will allow you to see the device storage. So here we see internal storage, total space of 4.5 gig. This is not telling you how much is actually being used. Home screen, this will allow you to enable specific things on your home screen. So, enable video previews, so when you go to specific sites, do they do the pre-roll or the little teaser video while you're watching? Enable audio preview, same thing. Do you want to hear those previews? Reorder apps will allow you to shuffle things around. Reorder the games, likewise, shuffle things around. And then here you have licensing, Android TV, and then Android TV core services. Google Assistant has private data. I'm not going to show you that, but that's your Google Assistant options. Chromecast, because, well, this device does allow you to use Chromecast to cast to it, so this is where you would see that information. Screensaver, if you want to have a screensaver, you can select what type. So you can turn your screen off, you can have a backdrop, or you can have colors. Backdrop is rotation through a bunch of pictures, which I really like. When do you want it to start? 5 minutes is the shortest, 2 hours is the longest before it'll turn on. Put device to sleep after 1 hour of inactivity, 30 minutes is the lowest, and then never if you want that. And then you can force it to start it now. Location, again, sensitive information, won't be showing you that. Usage and diagnostics, you can come in here and opt out of usage and diagnostics. I do realize that for some, you do want to share this because it makes it easier troubleshooting. I just don't want to give them more information than I already am. Security and restrictions pretty much will tell you to only allow things from the official Google Play Store. Accessibility, now remember, there was an accessibility feature for the Tivo specific options. This is for the Android TV. So here we can have captions and then display. And here you see, it's giving you a preview. And then if you went down here, you can change the default language, the text size, and then how do you want it to show up? See how that changes? So they do give you some options. I'm going to turn that off and come back. You can select high contrast. You have options for text to speech, and you have accessibility shortcuts. You also have services, talkback. Right now I have it turned off because I don't really need it. And then you can reset everything. There's also an option for more, which will let you see display. Screen resolution in this case, well, I have it set to automatic. It's 1080, 60 hertz. Color depth settings are off. Color setting, again, these are more advanced features that you really shouldn't mess with unless you know what you're doing. Screen position, likewise, if we come in there, we can select it. HDMI SEC. So again, more options, but I just want you to see what is here. But again, don't play with it unless you actually know how to use it. Last is remote and accessories. Selecting this, you have add a Bluetooth remote, and then here you can see my Tivo remote, which is connected. So I can reset my remote control. I can change TV setup. I can change audio setup. I can unpair, and it'll show you the battery level of 70% in this case. So selecting home on my remote one more time brings me all the way back out to where we started things. And that was our look at the user interface for the Tivo 4K.